mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. One chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
Alright guys, so we got Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 28 about to kick off with this next major battle, its next arc officially that we've been going through. So we got, I think, 2 more chapters, or this might be the last chapter of this volume. 25, 26, 27. Yeah, so 28 will be the last chapter, so expect something big in chapter 28, and then going into chapter 29, we will be definitely full throttle within this new arc. We got my guy Mamushi invading the Hidden Leaf Village, and what is he after? He's after none other than the legend herself, Ada, the woman who knows all in this world. Now, a lot of ideas going back and forth between whether this is Ada's last moments, whether the death flags we've seen going painted around Ada in the last couple of chapters, are they prevalent, and is this the moment, right? Will we see Damon actually fall short in accomplishing his goal of protecting his sister? Will we see Mamushi actually succeed in obtaining a Senrigan, i.e. Ada's genes, biogenetics, whatever, and somehow powering up or evolving himself to become an even more formidable threat? That seems like the type of way, at least for the path, I would say, that Ikimoto has opened up for this Mamushi character, meaning that I believe there's a few ways this can go, but his ultimate end goal is inevitably to evolve through devouring Ada's genetics and possibly gaining her superior power, maybe even a Senrigan. You give someone like Mamushi that type of power that Ada already has, it's actually a very, very, very serious situation we will be in, and we don't even need to consider locking him in the jail and just throwing the key away. We just need to obliterate this man out of existence completely and fully, right? So we understand Kashin Koji has 2 major plays set in motion right now. We talked about it in the previous video. Him and Inojin are there. They're training. Inojin is tasked with mastering a jutsu that he himself comes up with in a future where Himawari is somehow defeated, killed off, or sealed as an act of vengeance, as an act of revenge. And, you know, in order to get one up on the Shinju. And Koji admits that, you know, this jutsu will be very crucial in the upcoming battle against Mamushi. Now, I've pointed this out a lot of times. Every time we're talking about Jura, every time we're talking about the Shinju in general, Damon is never mentioned. Damon is never brought up. Damon is never mentioned even as an asset when we got people like Inojin being brought into the mix, people like Himawari being brought into the mix, people that we know for a fact Damon can look at and scuff at because he's way stronger than these people. And then with even more so solidification in that matter, he literally suns both Sarada and Sumire in this chapter, letting them know that he is that much stronger than them. It doesn't matter what power up you gain, how much stronger you think you've gotten, he can end it all before you even realize you're dead. So Damon has let us know himself that, yeah, he still feels like that guy, and he still is that guy, and also he has no reason to believe that he's not that guy. Even understanding all of the current circumstances, Jura invading the village, Hidari invading the village, Ryu and Matsuri being on a mission where we find out Sarada is responsible for killing them, and Boruto is responsible for killing them, Kawaki getting power-ups, Himawari getting power-ups, all of these crazy things, yet Damon doesn't even lift a finger this entire serialization so far in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. So I don't know, guys. As a writer, as an author, as someone who just took literary classes and English classes, you know, one of the major questions, I guarantee you, even those of us who did not pursue to go further in their writing careers or writing endeavors past essays and school projects, but the teacher asked everybody, what is the author trying to say here? What message is the author trying to give? Everybody has had that question asked to them in some type of school setting, because that is what we understand writers and authors do. If they aren't spoon feeding us something, if they aren't just flat out telling us something, we have to look at the structure and the context the author is building their piece and their work in, and see for ourselves, well, what is the author really trying to say? That doesn't go away just because we're reading and watching anime and manga, guys. There's still the context of, well, what is the author trying to say? And for me, Ikimoto is saying that Damon is definitely strong, but there's something that us as a reader and fans aren't expecting, that for some reason right? Every time Jura is mentioned, every time the Shinju is mentioned, every time it's mentioned that there's no absolute way to get past this, or we need to plan A, B, C, and D accordingly in order to get the one up. But then we just have Damon chilling in the cut where it's never been confirmed anybody to be stronger than him yet. That just leads me to believe there's going to be an issue that both Damon and Ada come across, that somehow, some way, their strength or their abilities or their hacks won't allow them the benefit or the luxury of coming out on top. Damon hasn't really been presented with the threat in his life, and he feels still up until this moment, to the events of chapter 27 of Two Blue Vortex, there's really nothing that can stand in his way if he decides he wants to move it out of his way. So Damon still has this persona, and it's been very carefully selected dialogue whenever Koji is mentioning the Shinju, whenever Koji is talking about Jura, whenever Boruto is talking about receiving help against the Shinju. Damon is never brought up as an asset, and simply put, as a reader or even as a writer, if you just think it's because Damon is just not strong enough after all of the subtle buildup we've had for this character, you're not paying attention to the story, or maybe it's just something that went over your head. Damon is going to play a major role. Damon is extremely strong, but some way, somehow, the Shinju are going to get one up on him. And if it was simply as brute strength or physical force, they would have been knocked his ass out in the last previous 4 to 3 times they invaded the village. But no, that's not the case. And on top of that, Damon would have made a move of intrigue based off of the power he's been sensing. We've seen him sense Himawari's latent potential. We've seen him sense the Uzuhiko and not even get interested. So there's definitely more in between there. So what do I think? How do I believe this will go, right? Aside from the outside factors, because I believe Inojin's major role will be very crucial and key. He might be the one responsible for gathering the herd of Mamushis in the village into a secure spot in order to ensure the final blow is dealt on them accordingly, right? Taking into account the minuscule amount of damage that is needed to take onto the village. We can't have anything crazy. So someone like Kawaki, ending off that final blow, someone like Himawari, which could work still if both of those characters, but their blasts are something that showcases a lot of DC as opposed to AP, attack potency versus destructive capability, meaning that they're probably going to cause a crater into the village, maybe killing Mamushi at the same time, but still there will be a crater where someone like Boruto or maybe even Sarada, where we see their explosive or major powerful attacks have very precise and direct targets, where Sarada can simply destroy the opponent in the air and avoid any type of aerial damage to the actual surrounding area. And Boruto similarly as well can do a Uzuhiko that we saw shredded Hidari nearly to pieces and the floor was still intact. So very specific cues, right? But aside from those two, because I think, tagging along with Inojin, someone like that, Boruto or Sarada, might play a major key in destroying Mamushi. But how will specifically Damon go? Because I believe that they will have a fight, and I will believe that, and this is my predictions, this is at least for this fight, that Damon will overwhelm Mamushi so much that he understands that, yeah, I can't get the one up on this guy. I think, let me say this, guys, I'll say this here first. Damon will be the reason we get up to 20 to 30 Mamushi clones, meaning that we might see the 4 or 5 Mamushi clones scattered throughout the village, and they may not even feel the need to clone themselves or divide themselves because they probably think they have the situation under control. But Damon's strength and overwhelming force may be so much that Mamushi decides, okay, well, 1, if I dumb down, you won't be able to read my intent, and 2, if there's more of me, I might be able to overwhelm you. I believe that Damon will beat the brakes off of Mamushi starting off in this battle. It's going to be looking pretty easy, and it's going to be a head scratcher, because then it's going to be like, well, what is Mamushi going to do to make this even threatening? And that's when it's going to hit us, and that's when Ikimoto's going to throw us the curveball. Something is going to happen. Either he gets Damon and Ada separated out of the vicinity, he somehow gets the drop on Ada, but Damon is going to get caught off guard to the point where he is either incapable of continuing the fight, or he automatically loses based off of conditions. Now, the conditions in this scenario isn't necessarily to beat Damon or to defeat him. It's simply to get to Ada, separate him from Ada, or obtain Ada's power, DNA, or genetics. And I believe that is the way that Damon loses, or that is the way he gets thrown off guard. Or it can be a hacks incapacitating the guy Damon, somehow finding a way to render him and his ability useless. It's going to be a lot of loopholes to go around it. But for the mere fact, starting off this fight, it will look like Damon will no diff this man Mamushi until the twist comes, until the plot twist presents itself. That's how it's going to be looking like, guys. And I want to know your thoughts on it, right? So taking away from the account of Inojin and his inclusion into the battle, how he's going to probably manipulate Damon or manipulate Mamushi, possibly having Boruto be in the mix, Kawaki, Himawari, or even Sarada in the mix, just focusing on Damon and his approach. I think right? Because we ended off the chapter. It was 5 Mamushi clones, let's just say 6. I think Damon might be the one to face 2 to 3 clones, as the other 2 or 3 clones just separate themselves in a village and go around destroying stuff. So we could see definitely a difference of strength, where we might see a Mamushi clone and a couple of claw guns fighting some group of ninjas, or maybe a ninja or something like that, a lot of top tier Jonies, and we see Damon himself taking on maybe 2 Mamushis, 3 Mamushis, and a whole bunch of claw guns at that on top of it. So let me know how y'all feel about it. I'm really excited for the fight all in all. And also, guys, let's just not sleep. What do you think the author is trying to say? Because we can't ignore the fact, yes, it's been stamped as Jura is the strongest, and it's also been stamped as Damon is the strongest. So why is Ikimoto keeping these characters away from each other, and why have their names have never been mentioned in the same sentence, right? Scratching my head, I've never seen Jura and Damon in the same room. Is that saying something, or is it saying something? Hey, but let me know how y'all feel about it. What are y'all thoughts? Damon versus Mamushi will be heating up, and I'm looking forward to this battle upcoming. Let me know your thoughts below. Comment in the video, subscribe, like. It's your boy Black Chat. Holla at your boy. I'm holla at y'all. Black Chat. Yes, sir. Ski.